Today's video podcast is all about life balance. The full notes and the full podcast can be found on iTunes if you search Martial Arts of Business or Martial Arts Business. Also on our website, martialartsofbusiness.com. But let's get into it now. As I said, this particular broadcast is all about life balance, the balance of life and work. So we're going to talk about two main areas that will contribute to a little bit more control over your time. Number one is controlling the efforts you have in an area of advertising. And number two is organising your time in terms of how you deal with employees. The first marketing method is brilliant because it's perpetual, it happens all the time, and it's passive. You don't have to do much after you organise it for the very first time. Let me explain about it. I'll talk about this in terms of how it would work in a martial arts school, but you can adapt it to your academy even if you don't run a martial arts academy. In a martial arts academy, on a monthly basis, there is usually some kind of a graduation or a grading where the instructor gives out belts. Here's how we can ensure that a referral mechanism happens automatically every single month. Let's imagine this is the class where the students are graduating through to their next belt. And this can happen for kids or adults. It doesn't really matter. So let's imagine that all of the students are kneeling down with their eyes closed at the end of the class, sweat dripping off them, all ready to be presented with their next belt. And they're all excited. Parents are there, friends are there, whatever. Here's how it would work. In front of them, the instructor will normally place their next particular coloured belt. Let's imagine it's a green belt. So in front of them is the green belt. Also, you will place a white belt, a folded, brand new white belt next to their green belt. When they open their eyes, they are obviously presented with their green belt and they tie it on. Then you make a short 30-second to 1 minute speech about the white belt. You explain that the spirit of martial arts is being handed down from generation to generation, even though a lot of times these days information is spread electronically via the internet like I'm doing now, but the main spirit of martial arts was handed on verbally from one person to another through the generations. You explained that that opportunity is now in front of all of the students in the form of that white belt that's right in front of them. But it is, as you explain, a big responsibility. So tell them that embodied in that white belt is the spirit of training. And you want to give that spirit of training to somebody who is worthwhile, to someone who you think would appreciate the gift of martial arts. Their job right now is to think of someone who would appreciate that gift. You might also explain that if that person joins, then they'll get a month free because they're being referred by the student, and the student will get a month free. The beautiful thing about this method is that it will work. That little speech and that little method will work every single time a martial arts school owner does a graduation. And in the end, the martial arts school owner can teach one of his employees to be able to do the same speech. It's just a trained script. And like I said, it's passive. You don't have to do anything on a regular basis to ensure that it works, and it's repetitive. Every time it happens, it will contribute towards the phone ringing with new members or inquiries, or most importantly, referrals. Now, our next area in our life balance talk today is all about the needs of an employee. And so you may ask, why am I talking about managing employees if we're talking about life balance? Isn't life balance all about spending part of your time running your business and getting away and being able to have some time with your family or by yourself? Well, yes, it is. But the point is this: if you have a number of students that demands you on a regular basis, you are connected to your school. Your job owns you. So let's look at 3 needs of an employee so that they are going to be reliably performing at a high level. Think about that. Reliable performance at a high level. Anybody can get a job the first time and do really well because they're full of enthusiasm. Being able to reliably perform at a high standard, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, is what it's all about. And especially while you're not there. So the 3 needs of an employee, firstly and primarily obviously, is money. And you have to be able to provide enough of a wage to be able to give that person the chance to, pay their rent and pay their food and get by and so on, but also see how they can gradually increase their income on a regular basis through continued high performance. So number 1 is money. Number 2 is career advancement. What position is the employee going to start at? What training will they get from you to be able to continue to provide a high standard of performance for that position? And next, what training will you be giving them or will you be providing for them that's going to allow you to be able to have them move up the scale, if that is their aim or their objective? What performance level will you be asking from them in the future? And what training will you provide to be able to enable them to lift to that level? Number 1 was money. Number 2 was career advancement. Number 3 was martial arts ability. Or if it's a Thai boxing school or a karate school, it's ability in that particular area. But let's just round it off and call it martial arts ability. So what are you going to be doing on a regular basis to enable them to continue to improve as a student? Because remember, they're a student first, they're a teacher second, they're an employee second. They started this whole thing off as a student. That should be their and yours primary concern. If you take care of an employee, they will take care of you. It will enable you to be able to step back, have time off, go for a walk along the beach, do some of your own training, firm in the knowledge that your business is being taken care of by an employee who is reliably providing a high service level. And that's what it's all about. So there's 2 areas I think it's important that you concentrate on if you're looking at the balance of work and life. But before I say goodbye, I want to just share one thing that occurred to me last week. I was sitting down with a business client of mine. He runs a martial arts academy. And he spoke to me about the fact that about 10 years ago, he sat next to a gentleman at a dinner he was at, and this gentleman was reasonably successful. And my client said, "Why are you successful? What have you done?" And the guy said, "Well, I invested in property. And if you want to be a success, that's what you should do." So my client took that to heart. Now that was 10 years ago. As of today, well, as of last week, he has 10 properties. He has 6 residential properties and 4 commercial. 2 of the commercial properties he runs his martial arts school out of. Now think about this. It's not what he's done in the last year which has contributed to his standard of living now. It's what he's done progressively over the last 10 years. So I will leave you with one question. What will you do this year or even this month or even this week that will make a profound difference in your life in 10 years' time? And the things that you decide that you will do to make this big difference are usually not very sexy now, like saving 10% of your income. Your standard of living today is not going to rise dramatically because you've put a little bit of money away. But it will make a profound difference in the years to come. And finally, I'll share a quote with you. I was private training a multi-millionaire a few years ago for quite some time, 3 times a week. And I learnt quite a bit from him. And he said to me one day, he said, Sean, people usually overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. My name is Sean Allen. Train hard and I'll see you next time. If you would like any more information on what I discussed today, you can go in on our website, which is at the bottom of your screen. Also, you can listen to the full podcast in iTunes. All you do is search Martial Arts Business and up I'll come. Or else you go in on our website, which is martialartsofbusiness.com.